Welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for checking out this video. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19 cousins. This is a Indiana Fever post game video. Big win. Big win for the Indiana Fever. It was a strange game. It kind of felt early on like they weren't ready for it. They were going through the motions. Enrique started out hot. The entire team started out hot for Dallas Wings. They actually shot better from three than they did from two. I think they shot almost 42% from three. Let me scroll down and check. I think that's what I saw before. Yeah, 41.9% from three. Enrique had 9 made three-pointers, which is a personal best, and I believe ties a WNBA record held by a couple people, including Kelsey Mitchell. The Fever again hit 100 points. Their offense is starting to click a little more consistently. So I got a question for y'all. Let me know in the comments below because I really am curious because I haven't heard it mentioned in a while. I just want to double check, make sure I am up to date with how we are doing things. So here is my question to you. Are we still doing the team with the better record thing is going to determine which player gets rookie of the year? Are we still doing that? Is that what's happening? I'm just curious. I don't want to say either way because I'm not sure myself, but let me know in the comments below if we're still giving rookie of the year to the player on the team with the better record. I'm just asking. By the way, Sky lost again today for the 6th time in a row. That's right, folks. 6 losses in a row. They're 11-21. And yet, still have the final playoff spot. It's crazy. The Fever, after starting 1-8, after the 11 games in 20 days, they have a winning record sitting at 17-16 in that 6th seed. They have now beaten every single team in the league but the Las Vegas Aces. But we'll get there. We've got 2 more shots at them. Let me put this out there. Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell are the best backcourt in the WNBA, folks, and it is not close. Look, early on, I got to tell you, I was a little worried early on. I thought Kelsey Mitchell was reverting a little bit in some of her shot choices, but man, she righted the ship. She got into the team game, and because of that, she benefited, lit it up, had another absolutely outstanding game. I love the way that she's upped her effort on defense as well lately. Like, I'm telling you what, folks, there was a I don't know if it was the break and just the players getting to know each other better in a less pressurized situation than getting thrown in together for the season. Because as you know, Caitlin Clark goes right from the finals of the NCAA championship. They get thrown into the start of the WNBA. You've got all those games, like I said, 11 in the first 20. Just no real chance for any of these players with everything surrounding them in the media attention and all that. No chance for these players without any pressure to just get to know each other as people and players. Because it seems like Kelsey Mitchell has flipped a switch. And I don't mean just being more of a team player and getting hers within the team, but everything. Like I said, she doesn't get a lot of assists, but I tell you what, if Kelsey Mitchell can get 3 or 4 in a game, that's huge. She's getting more rebounds as well. She's playing much better defense. It is really fun to watch Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell play together. Oh, and by the way, the Indiana Fever currently have a 4-game winning streak, which is the longest in the WNBA at the moment. And let me just check real quick. Hopefully I'll remember and I'll check again when this is over. This isn't updated yet. There it is. It did just update. Okay, cool. So there you go. It wasn't updated a minute ago. Fever now 17-16. They've got a full game lead on the Phoenix Mercury, which is a 2-game lead because they own the tiebreaker. Phoenix has look below them, folks. Phoenix has lost 3 in a row. Chicago has lost 6 in a row. Atlanta, which could have gotten themselves an actual lead on that final spot with Chicago, no, they have lost 4 in a row. And by the way, the Seattle Storm, the team ahead of Indiana, has lost a couple games in a row as well. So I want to dig into the box score and I want to go over some concerns. We'll get them out of the way because, hey, look, no game is perfect. So I just want to go over some things that I think, yeah, this is a problem going forward if we don't fix it. Shout out almost really everybody. And Melissa Smith has been really productive the last couple of games in her minutes. She's playing about half the game, but getting double-digit points. I mean, she had 14 points and 8 rebounds today in only 22 minutes. She shot 7 to 12, 2 steals, 3 blocks, 2 assists. Melissa Smith played really well. For me, when Melissa Smith plays like that, the only issue I have, which is why I can see limiting her minutes, is because sometimes it can be difficult for the team in the half court offense because, yeah, she can occasionally shoot the 3, but defenses don't worry about it. And Melissa Smith is much better in the paint. And yet that's where Boston excels as well. So it can get crowded in the paint. You not only have to worry about feeding Boston and Smith in the paint, you have both of them that play inside. They don't really stretch defenses and space them out. That also takes away backcourt cuts from the likes of Lexi Hull and Kelsey Mitchell on the wings because there's no space in the paint. So Dantas, with her skill set and her better outside shooting, and especially the 3, she spaces the floor a lot better than Melissa Smith does. And that's not a knock on Melissa Smith. That's just the makeup of the team. And get this, folks, before we get into the concerns, I'll run through the box score first. Aaliyah Boston was, for the most part, non-existent today. And so was Tammy Fagbenley. And I don't say that in a negative way. I'm not saying they didn't work hard or that both of them didn't make big plays or they, didn't make big plays defensively. But Tammy took 2 shots. Aaliyah Boston took 6 shots. And I think at least 2 of them were the fourth quarter, maybe 3. Now, that being said, she had 2 huge, huge plays on back-to-back possessions in the fourth that were huge. I mean, huge for the Indiana Fever. And so I'm not necessarily criticizing them. I'm saying, despite that from Fagbenley and Boston, the Indiana Fever still won and still scored 100 points. Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark had 64 points combined, folks. Mitchell's 12 of 22, 5 of 7 from 3, 7 of 8 from the line. 6 rebounds, folks, 3 assists. Caitlin Clark's 10 of 19, 5 of 11 from 3, again, hitting the threes. And by the way, 2 of them, one was a heat check from way downtown that was actually a really good shot and just kicked off the back of the rim. And the other was the chuck up at the end of the third because of the shot clock going down. Hit 3 of her 4 threes. She grabbed 4 rebounds, 12 assists. And by the way, it should have been 15 or 16, but we'll get to that in the concerns. Lexi Hull was just fantastic today. Didn't get a lot of shot opportunities, but she was 2 for 4 in the one she did take. 6 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and a couple of blocks. And she played fantastic defense. Dantas was great off the bench. 17 minutes, 2 of 5, hit a 3-pointer. She was a plus 11, 7 points, 4 rebounds, 3 steals, and a block. Now, before we get into some clips, I wanted to talk about some of the concerns because there are concerns. Don't get all stressed out. I think the biggest one, and I'm going to show you a couple, at least 8 that I counted, missed layups, folks. 8. You are not going to win in the playoffs by missing 8 layups. And I'm just going to show you, 2. And this is what I mean about Caitlin Clark should have 15, 16 assists. Because here's one. Look, both these players that miss had great games. They're important to the team, but it is what it is. You can't do this. I mean, that wasn't even close, Lex. Come on now. You gotta catch that ball and plant that foot and turn that forward momentum up, straight up with your vertical. Get your body under control. Don't have your body still going full speed forward as you try and put that layup up there. And that was a great pass, right? That should be an assist. And then we're going to look at this one too. Let's rewind this. And this, by the way, is what I mean in terms of the spacing, right? Look at the way we have them spread out with the way we're playing this offense right here. There's no defense in the paint, folks. No defense in the paint. Caitlin Clark forces this defender out on the wing to kind of go comatose because you're so aware of Caitlin Clark and what she's doing. Look at that. I mean, she had no idea. That's some of the worst defense I've ever seen in my life. She was completely and totally zoned out. I'll run it one more time and slow it down a bit. But this is like, see, she's worried about Clark. But look, she's standing up. I mean, look at right there. That's when she finally realizes. Right there's when she finally realizes, hey, the player I'm guarding's gone. But guess what? That is so bad. That is the easiest shot you'll ever have in basketball. You're right there. You're under the hoop. You're on your strong side, your strong hand. There's no defensive pressure whatsoever, and it didn't even come close to going in. And they had like now they weren't all that easy, but they had what I would call like 8 legitimate misses that they should have gotten. I didn't see a whole lot of pick and roll with Boston except what I think twice in the fourth quarter, and they got 2 huge buckets from Boston, including an and one, which I think is which I think I have lined up to show you. And then I thought they struggled defensively early on when Enrique and really the whole Dallas Wings team were hitting threes. They didn't adjust well in that first half to getting pressure on those threes and making them beat them with something else first and see if they could do it. I know there was once or twice where Mitchell went under the screen when guarding Enrique when Enrique was in 3-point shooting distance, which you absolutely can't do. Just like with Caitlin Clark, the difference with Caitlin compared to anyone else is the range, right? Like if Caitlin gets to the logo, you can't go under a screen against Caitlin or she's going to fire up a three and you're in a lot of trouble. Temi had butterfingers today. It wasn't her day, folks. I love Tammy Fig-Bentley as a player. I love her energy. And again, she didn't play poorly overall, but offensively, she wasn't there. For example, I couldn't find a clip that was available, but there's that bad pass in the first half from Clark to Fig-Bentley that went out of bounds and it wasn't anywhere close. And I think that was Clark expecting Fig-Bentley to just run forward toward the basket, and Tammy kind of went out to the right. I guess she wanted to get herself to the right side of the basket, and so they had a miscommunication on that. Although Tammy had a huge play at the end of the third, she grabbed that forced three by Caitlin Clark at the buzzer and got the ball back up and in, and that was a huge, huge bucket for the Indiana Fever because they went into the fourth quarter down. But look, they're not going to advance in the playoffs if they miss this many layups and have these slow starts all the time. Finally, the other concern before we get to some of the positive stuff, the minutes for Boston, Mitchell, and Clark, man. I hope they're ready. I hope they can sustain that through the playoffs. But right now, it's concerning that. Let's see, what were they today? I don't even think yeah, Mitchell 37 minutes, Clark 37 minutes, Boston 33. Even Lexi's starting to play 30 plus all the time, 32. It would be great if those four could all be in the 32, 33 range that Hull and Boston played. But look, their bench was basically non existent. I mean, Temi, and I get it. Look, oh man, Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to shout out Christy Sides. I get it for this game. Like I said, I'm concerned going forward, but the bench wasn't there. Katie Lou just coming back. I think she's got to get back into it. So I understand her limited minutes anyway. Fag Bentley only playing 9 minutes. I think that was a good decision by Sides. I mean, Temi just didn't have it. Dantas was playing well, and so it didn't make a lot of sense to make that change. Now, one of the things I want to show flip side of those two missed layups that I just showed you. Okay, because again, this is what's going to get people to watch the WNBA, folks. And I know this is a little blurry, but I know the only other one I found of this is going to be like, no, you can't use it. So this is early on, great play. Caitlin Clark is rubbing off on the rest of the team. This is Harlem Globetrotter stuff. That pass right there is absolutely insane. And then a great reaction by Mitchell. But I mean, hey, remember all the way back in June when I said Caitlin Clark is already the best passer in the WNBA? Caitlin Clark's the best passer in the WNBA, people. Okay? Let's not make any mistake about it. That pass, anybody who's played the game knows how insanely difficult it is to throw a bounce pass that far. You know, it was the greatest at it was Magic Johnson way, way back in the day. But I mean, that is an insane to hit a bounce pass like that and hit her in stride and do it through the defense. And of course, speaking of getting used to Caitlin Clark and playing with Caitlin Clark and her rubbing off, boom. Great defense by Smith there. Boston grabs it. If you can see right in front of you, you've got Mitchell. She knows what she's doing. Look, you can see all five wings defenders. And the three further out, they're all flat footed. And guess what that means? Mitchell's on a full on sprint. Caitlin doesn't even get past the free throw line, hits her at the other free throw line, and it is a bucket. And that is what this team can do to you when they are playing their game. Absolutely insane what they can do. They can put points on the board so quickly. So quickly. And I mean, to win a game like this when you really didn't have Boston or Fag Bentley. Oh, by the way, Lexi Hull has made more threes in 6 games in August than she did all of last season. It's 7 games now, I guess, right? But she made 17 last season. She made 13. And look, I know because of her minutes that she's played. We're just seeing it lately. I'm not suggesting that she actually gets this honor, but right now with how she's playing, I think Lexi Hull has to be considered an all WNBA defender. I'm not even saying first team, but she is a fantastic defender. The second half, the defense overall is more aggressive. Again, going back to what we saw last game, even Caitlin Clark in closing out on 3-point shooters has been more aggressive. I actually like what I've seen from the defense, except early on. I don't think they adjusted quickly enough to really making sure they were putting pressure on the 3-point shooters. And in a game that seemed a lot of blah, especially early on, they won. Didn't look like they played great early on. Dallas Wings couldn't miss a shot. Boston wasn't in her game offensively. Fag Bentley wasn't in it offensively. Arike was insanely hot. The Wings shot 42% from three. And yet, the Indiana Fever won this game. And it seemed like a quiet 28 for Clark. 28 points, 12 assists, folks. Mitchell, 36 points. And I got to tell you, that felt a little quiet too, at least in the second half. In the second half, she made a couple of big threes. And one, I think the game was tied at 84. And then the other one was, I think it was 92-91. And other than those two, I was like, oh, okay, she's finally hitting. And then I look up and she's got like 20, 21 points in the second half. That is absolutely crazy. But we have this, and again, I like to show this. Well, I mean, it's just pretty, but it also just besides shooting threes, folks, what else does Caitlin Clark bring to the game? Yeah. Oh, by the way, she's also on the left side of the court for everyone who thinks she can only go to the basket on the right. But yeah, so there was that. I got a couple other ones. Oh yeah, see this was huge. Boston took 6 shots all game, but she had a back to backs in the second half. And now here is what I'm talking about. We haven't seen enough. I know they've been winning, but I would like to see a little more of this when they get into their half court game, and we haven't been seeing it as much. By the way, I also like to point out if you look over here down to the right, Dantas is in. Dantas can shoot the three. So her being out here, right? The defender guarding her, the big guarding her, has to at least be outside of the paint, create space inside the paint for the Indiana Fever. So now we're getting that pick and roll that I'm talking about. They both go to her. Now look where Boston receives this, right? She's wide open. Four of the Wings players are on the other side of the paint. You've got Dantas over here who can shoot the three. We have a 2-on-1. Boston obviously doesn't shoot a lot of threes at all, but she can hit them. So you don't want to give it to her wide open. But now we have a 2-on-1 over here with two bigs who can shoot and also both can go to the basket. So Boston gets it. She's like, oh, look, no one's covering me. She looks over. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stop it there, but because I did kind of want to see it. But if you, I'm going to let this roll through now, but watch Boston. She takes a glance at Dantas, okay? Like, okay, I've got that. The defender has to be aware of it. So she's late, and we get an N1. And that defender never even got involved. You had to have the other defenders who were on the other side of the paint come over. And that's how you get opportunities like that. And that goes back to what I said about why I like Dantas in the game. And it gets, but again, Mitchell has been producing, and Mitchell, I'm sorry, Smith in this case, and she's a heck of a player, but it's going to come to matchups, I think, and how the team's playing as to which one may get more minutes from game to game. When you need to space the floor to get those kinds of advantages, you want Dantas in there because I think that defender's probably in the paint if that's Nalissa Smith out of the 3-point line instead of Dantas. And I'm going to show this just because it's crazy. And this, again, example of what makes everyone else better as far as being shooters because of the attention that has to be paid to Caitlin Clark. Now, even right there, that not the best pick and roll for both of them. I think Caitlin was a little early and doesn't rub off of Dantas enough to drive. You got to drive the defender into the pick, but that's enough, right? She's got a little bit of spacing. That defender has to flash out. The defender who guards Dantas has to flash out. And here's the other thing again. And here's the difference between Dantas and Smith. If it's not Boston out there, if Caitlin doesn't shoot this, she's throwing this pass to Dantas, who has a wide open three, because none of the two defenders who are on Caitlin Clark right now can possibly get to Dantas to disrupt a 3-point shot. But Caitlin takes it instead. Boom. And that was huge, by the way. They were down 1, so that made it 84-82. Dallas got the bucket back, and then Mitchell hit a 3, I believe, when it was tied up at 84, which was huge. Oh yeah, and then this, and here's why I'm showing this because it's kind of right. You can see they just be out there fouling Caitlin Clark. WTF is this? She hasn't gotten this call all year, and one of the big reasons I want to put this out here now, and I'm going to let you see it. Watch the defender. Caitlin Clark needs to be allowed to land. Okay, and I know you may think, oh, that doesn't look like much, but she needs to be allowed to land. And here's the thing. and I wasn't able to find a clip of it. There was in the corner, Mitchell took a three, right? It was a huge three. She made the three and got fouled. And it was a flagrant on Enrique, who went crazy. I'm surprised she didn't get teed up. But if you watch it, and I understand by the letter of the rule, it's a flagrant. But I, the way Enrique did it, I can see the foul, but I don't see the flagrant. But basically, Mitchell came down sort of on Enrique's foot. There really wasn't a whole lot there. I think Mitchell sold it well. But not only did you get the foul call, they got a flagrant called. But this, Caitlin Clark can't get the foul called on that. And it's been like that all season. And then this, again, we're running, right? We get the ball and we go. We've got the ball ahead of 4 Dallas defenders. And because of this transition, and you've got a big on Mitchell here, because of this transition, people make more mistakes because they struggle with who they should match up with. They really should take the player that's right there, even if it's not someone they would normally cover and it's a mismatch, because you've got to stop the transition first, and then when you can figure out your matchup. But instead of that, Dallas, right, here we go. They're like, now look at this. Look behind Mitchell. What do you see? Lexi Hull ahead of the defense, going to the corner. So guess what? We're going to get a miscommunication. Lexi Hull has been on fire from the three. We know she can shoot it. You don't want to leave her wide open. You absolutely don't want to leave Mitchell wide open. And so what they do is they realize that there's Hull. So, we better go get her. They both go right past Mitchell. She's wide open. They're up a point with under 2 minutes to go, and they leave her wide open. And that is the type of thing that can be created by the Indiana Fever when they run with the type of team that they have, that you leave Mitchell open because you're scrambling to guard who you should be guarding, right? Like both of those defenders probably, they came back. They've got the team coming back, their own team coming back behind. Like, well, somebody's got to get Lexi Hull or she's going to get an open three. And they're thinking someone else is going to get Mitchell, but they both run to Hull. Whereas just like if they had both stayed with Mitchell, then it goes to Hull. And so they're running, and their ability for multiple players to shoot the three creates a lot of mismatches for the Indiana Fever to get points. I mean, I don't want to go on. I almost feel like this video is kind of blah because it was just, for the most part, it was just a clean game. Dallas played well. The Fever played well. There wasn't any drama. This definitely isn't my post-Chicago Sky video. Hey, but hey, look, Caitlin Clark, by the way, 5th most 20-point games in the entire WNBA this season. By the way, because I know double-doubles are such a big deal, even though point rebound double-doubles are like, what, 8 times, 10 times more frequent than assist double-doubles. Caitlin Clark now has the most double-doubles by a guard in a single season in WNBA history. That is not a rookie record, folks. That is a record. Most double-doubles by a guard in a single season. And I think two of them might be with rebounds. The rest were with assists. She had another 2010 game, obviously, 28 points, 12 assists. I showed you just two that should have made it 14 assists. But yeah, man, I'm gonna leave it there. I mean, this is just, it's a big win. It's a relatively clean win. I had mentioned my concerns, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What does this mean for the team going forward? What are the concerns you might have? What did you like that you saw? Something maybe that was different. But yeah, let me know. And thanks again for checking out this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I really do appreciate it. Seriously, someone mentioned in the comments, they're like, oh, you said everything I wanted to say, so I didn't really have much, but I just wanted to say this was good or something like that. And like I commented to them, look, every time you like or comment, it is a huge help, because YouTube looks at that. They're like, how many views? How many people liked and commented? The higher the percentage of the likes and comments to views, YouTube's like, man, we got to show this video to other people. So it does mean a lot. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to leave it there, and I'll talk to you later.